Mars was formed 4.6 billion years ago, with a history similar to the other three terrestrial planets, that is following the condensation of the solar nebula, mostly composed by silicates, because of the farther distance from the Sun than the Earth. A higher concentration of low-boiling elements such as chlorine, phosphor and sulfur were present in the orbit of Mars in its initial phase of formation. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun in the solar system. It is visible to the naked eye and is the last of the terrestrial planets after Mercury, Venus and Earth. It is called the red planet because of its characteristic color. This is due to a mineral called iron oxide that is very common on the planet's surface. Mars has both north and south polar ice caps, much like Earth. Also like Earth, both its ice caps are made mostly of frozen water. With so much water frozen in the ice caps of Mars, some scientists think that life could have once existed there. Mars doesn't have a protective layer of atmosphere like Earth, so it cannot store it from the Sun. As a result, the temperature on Mars regularly drops on minus 82 degrees Celsius in the winter and only rises to minus 5 degrees Celsius in the summer. In August of the 6th, 2012, the rover Curiosity landed on Mars as a part of NASA's Mars Science Laboratory mission, with the aim of investigating the past and the present capabilities of the planet to sustain life as well as determining the role of the water and studying the climate and geology of Mars. After 1 year of mission, the NASA seized that ancient Mars could have been hospitable to microbial life.
Saturn is the sixth planet in the solar system and the second greatest planet after Jupiter, to which it is very similar. It is one of the best known planets because the bright globe of Saturn is surrounded by rings which may be composed of ice. 3 of these rings are visible from the Earth using a telescope. Saturn has at least 18 moons, satellites which orbit around the planet attracted to it by the planet's gravity. Its mass is 95 times that of the Earth and it has a diameter of 140,750 kilometers. The planet orbits around the Sun at a distance of 1,429 kilometers, completing a revolution in 29.5 years. Every season lasts 7 years on Earth. It rotates rapidly around its axis. The day on Saturn lasts only 10 hours and 49 minutes. Saturn is also a gaseous planet and is the lightest of all. Its density is just 0.7, that is less than water density.
Because of low density and rapid rotation, Saturn is a big crash. Centrifugal force due to rotation, in fact, drives outward the regions of the planet that rotate faster, that is, the one closest to the equator. A beautiful Saturn image taken by Voyager 1. The planet has a yellowish color due to the clouds that cover it.
Neptune is the eighth and farthest planet of the solar system starting from the Sun, and is surrounded by 3 thin rings. It is the fourth largest planet. It has a diameter of 47,150 kilometers, but the smallest among the 4 gas giants. Like Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus, it is composed only of gas. Neptune's atmosphere consists primarily of hydrogen and helium, along with traces of hydrocarbons and possibly nitrogen, but it contains a higher proportion of water, ammonia and methane. Of course, it is the coldest planet in the solar system. The temperature is in fact minus 220 degrees Celsius, and there are strong winds every day. Neptune cannot be seen without a large telescope and was first seen in 1846 from the observatory in Berlin. Then they named it Neptune after the Roman god of the sea. Seen through the telescope, Neptune appears as a small bluish disk. Its color is blue for the presence of methane. Like all the other planets in the solar system, Neptune moves in an orbit around the Sun. It takes Neptune 165 of our Earth years to orbit the Sun. In 2011, Neptune completed the first orbit of the Sun since its discovery, in 1846. The main astronomers who discovered Neptune were Alexis Bouvard, John Couch Adams, Urbain Le Verrier, and George Airy.
Mercury is the planet closest to the Sun. It is 58 million kilometers away from the Sun. Like all the other planets, Mercury orbits around the Sun, but its orbit of the Sun lasts for only 88 days. The Earth's orbit lasts for 365 days, and Pluto's orbit takes 249 years. Mercury's sunny side has a temperature rising to 400 degrees Celsius. Mercury's dark side, however, is very cold indeed, with the temperature going down to minus 200 degrees Celsius. Mercury is quite a small planet. Its diameter is only 4,919 kilometers. The diameter of the Earth is 12,760 kilometers.
Mercury has no atmosphere around it to protect it from the Sun or to retain any heat when it rotates on its axis. The surface of Mercury is covered with craters and completely dry. There is no possibility of life on Mercury. NASA's latest mission to Mercury is called MESSENGER. The MESSENGER spacecraft entered Mercury's orbit in March 2011 and is sending back pictures of the planet. MESSENGER is now moving with Mercury around the Sun. Mercury is one of the 5 planets that can be seen without using a telescope.
Jupiter is the giant of the solar system, with a mass more than 300 times the mass of the Earth, and is called after the ancient Roman sky god, Jupiter, known to the Greeks as Zeus. Jupiter has a diameter of 142,750 kilometers. Jupiter is the 5th planet in order from the Sun and is about 777 million kilometers from the Sun. The figure shows the planets in order, but the distances are not to scale. The Earth is much closer to the Sun.
The gas giants are entirely composed of dense layers of gas. Jupiter is made of hydrogen, helium, methane, and ammonia. The cloudy sphere has bright belts on it which change their shape. There are 64 moons in total, 4 of which are large, enough to be easily observed with a small telescope. The first person to discover and observe Jupiter's moons was Galileo.
Uranus' planet is gaseous. Uranus has a smooth appearance, free of structures and a greenish-blue color. Its gravity was not enough to hold the light gases of its atmosphere, hydrogen and helium. It is methane very abundant on the planet, which determines its blue color. On Uranus, like on Jupiter and Saturn, strong winds blow, which speed up to 600 kilometers per hour. The planet has a very strong magnetic field.
Pluto is the last planet of the solar system and the smallest. It moves around the Sun along a very elliptical orbit. It's the farthest from the Sun, 52 times more than Earth. You can imagine how cold and obscure it is, since at that distance it only collects a tiny part of the sunlight. Pluto is a very small and rocky planet, like the inner planets of the solar system. It is so different from other planets that many astronomers doubt it was formed with them. Perhaps it was a a body that was in the vicinity and was captured by the gravity of the Sun, remaining trapped in orbit. Pluto is composed of 18% rocky and for the rest of icy water and methane. When approaching the Sun, a portion of this ice evaporates, and around the planet forms a tiny atmosphere.
Venus is the second planet of the Solar System, in order away from the Sun, with an almost circular orbit that leads him to make a revolution in 224.7 Earth days. It is the brightest natural object in the night sky, after the Moon, and for this reason it has been known since antiquity. Venus has an atmosphere consisting mainly of carbon dioxide, much denser than Earth's, with a pressure at the ground level of 92 atmospheres. The density and composition of the atmosphere create an impressive greenhouse effect, which makes Venus the hottest planet in the solar system.
Venus is wrapped up by a thick layer of highly refractive clouds composed primarily of sulfuric acid. The planet does not have satellites or rings and has a weak magnetic field compared to the Earth's. Venus orbits around the Sun in 225 days. The Earth takes 365 days to complete an orbit of the Sun, so a year on Venus only lasts 262 days. The apparent diameter of Venus during a lower joint is about 66 seconds of arc.
An asteroid with the dimensions of Mars crashed on the Earth and its residues assembled and formed the Moon. The Moon has fixed the Earth's axis, preventing it from tilting uncontrollably, stabilizing the climate of our planet. It slowed the Earth's rotation by making sure the day lasts 24 hours. The Moon was born 4.5 billion years ago. About 4.3 billion years ago, a layer was formed in the southern part.
From 4.1 to 3.8 billion years ago, there was a bombing. There was a lot of lava from 3.8 to 1 billion years ago. This is the Moon today. This is the first NASA trip on the Moon. The visible face of the Moon is characterized by the presence of approximately 300,000 impact craters, counting those with a diameter of at the least 1 kilometer. The largest lunar crater is the South Aitken Pool Basin, which has a diameter of about 2,500 km. It is 13 km deep and occupies the southern part of the hidden face.